Hi, everyone. Today, I'm going to be taking you through my process of using Marmalead and how I use Marmalead as a research tool for Etsy to find keywords and kind of check my listings and that kind of thing. And I'll also show you what I don't do and what I don't worry about because I know how the tool works. And that's really important to remember that Marmalead is a tool and you need to use a tool along with your own intelligence and your own intuition and your own knowledge of your listings, and that will help you to use the tool more effectively. So the first thing I'll say is that I am not a Marmalead affiliate. I don't earn any money from recommending Marmalead. It's the most accurate of the research tools that I've tried, and I've tried all of them because they're always trying to get me to promote them on YouTube, but I don't do that because the other ones aren't accurate as far as my own stats go. And what I do occasionally is I'll check keywords in Marmalead against the stats in my own shop to see if what they're showing is about right. And that doesn't mean that it's going to show exact numbers because that's impossible. And I'll show you why in a minute. But as long as they're showing things in the same kind of proportions, like if this keyword is searched more than this keyword and Marmalead says the same thing, then I consider that accurate. And I'll explain a little bit more as we get into it. I don't get paid for recommending Marmalead, and anyone who gets paid as an affiliate for recommending any of these tools, that's fine, but they need to disclose that. And a lot of people don't. So I just want to get that out there. I don't earn money from recommending it. It's just the best tool that I found for Etsy keyword research. So the first thing I want to look at is the grades, because this is where everybody freaks out and you immediately go and you want to get to an A. And I've done many videos about this, and that is not the goal of Marmalead. It's not to try to get every listing to an A. You shouldn't be even looking at the grades in that way. And there are many reasons for it. The grades are just there to give you an indication of maybe there's something in that listing you want to change. Now, I will tell you that every single one of these listings I have sold in the last week, at least. I'm not sure exactly how far this goes back, but D, they've all sold. I just sold this one about 15 minutes ago before I started this. So a grade does not guarantee sales. A grade is just there so that you can decide for yourself whether you want to change the thing that the grade says is lacking. And I know that if you are the kind of person like I am, you always want to get an A. You don't want to do that with these keyword research tools because that probably means that you're matching too much. And the way that Etsy works, unfortunately, is that they have put this thing out about how Etsy search works years ago. They haven't updated it in 3 or 4 years, but because of that, all these tools are still kind of having to go by what Etsy says. It's not the way Etsy is working now. And I actually am going to be doing another video about that on my other channel for next week. Until then, just understand that Etsy might say one thing in the search manual, but they don't do that. So just keep that in mind. So let's go into this listing because this is a D, and we'll see what is Marmalead saying is lacking. And this will let you see that I don't care because I just sold this thing. Tags, all the tags are there. That's good. Okay, because I want to fill out all my keyword space. Long tail focus keywords. Now on Marmalead, a focus keyword is just a keyword that Marmalead sees that you have put in your title and your tags. A focus keyword doesn't mean that it's a good keyword. It just means that you have put it in both places. So it, just because it says a focus keyword is a long tail and it's in both places, it doesn't mean it's a good keyword. I could put, this is edible wafer paper that you wrap around a cake. I could put ladies black patent leather shoe in the title and the tags. And if Marmalead sees that it is a long tail focus keyword because it's in both places, it will tell me that says that. It doesn't mean that you need to pay attention to it. This says 0 because that means I haven't matched any long tail keywords in the title and the tags. Anything that's matched, remember, in the title and the tags, that's your focus keyword according to how Marmalead is defining it. I don't need to match anything in the title and tags for this. I'm not worried about it. So long tail focus keywords, not necessarily something I need to worry about, but if you do want to look at that, you can go and check that out, and that might raise your grade up to a C, okay? Focus keyword engagement. Again, focus keywords are things that are in both the title and the tags, so I must have matched something in the title and the tags, but it's saying that it doesn't have a lot of engagement, whatever that phrase is. It's probably wafer paper, and I don't care. Because long tail keywords, listings are not found only for one keyword. I think this is something that you get into these tools and you start freaking out that you're not going to be found for your keyword. Listings are found for hundreds and thousands of keywords. So don't worry about that too much. But if it does something that you do want to look at, then go ahead. I'm not worried about this, so I'm not going to worry about it. Long tail tags. Now, the way that I do tags is a little weird, and it works because it's how Etsy works, and it works because it's how search engines work. But Marmalead is a machine. It is a tool, and it's looking at the tags individually and saying, is this a long tail keyword? That's not what my tags are like. So I basically just ignore this too. Okay. So I'm not worried about any of this. The SEO factors I think are fine. And like I said, this just sold 15 minutes ago. So we're fine with that. Now, sales factors, they're not included in your grade. These aren't yet part of listings. And this says descriptions. So the descriptions are part of SEO now, but as long as you're writing a good description, it shouldn't be something that you're worried about, because you're going to have keywords in there just because it's a good description. So I'm not worried about any of this. And I see a lot of people freaking out because they can't get their descriptions down to a 4th grade reading level. And that basically, just think of that as writing it so that people can skim it. You don't have to worry about the reading level so much. Just make it easy to read so that people who are reading something fast can skim the information and get what they need. And that means not putting in big blocks of text. Don't write long paragraphs. People don't read that. They just skip over it. So when you're doing the descriptions and the readability and looking at all that, just make sure that your descriptions are written in an easy way to read, and you're fine. And again, this is not included in the grades. So this is just a guideline that Marmalead is providing that you can look at and use if you want to. Okay, title readability. Now, the length, because Etsy says, keep your title short. No, Etsy, this is another kind of do as I say, not as I do situation, because Etsy reads the entire title. If you fill out the entire title, Etsy will read every word in there and use that to figure out what your listing is. It doesn't display the entire title on Etsy. I don't know how many characters are displayed, but it's just, whatever shows up under the listing photo, but they'll read the whole thing. But because Etsy says keep your title short, Marmalead has to go with that because that's Etsy's best practice, quote unquote, even though they don't do that. And so they're rating my title, which fills up the whole space, as bad. Again, I don't care because I know that Etsy reads the whole thing and it's fine. I'm not worried about it. So you can look at this sentiment. I don't know how you have a sentiment about, and I honestly, I don't know how they rate this stuff. I've told them, don't tell me anything because that way I won't be able to give away their proprietary information. But yeah, I'm not concerned about this because I know that people can read it and it's fine. Then you go through all this kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I don't care about any of this. In fact, if I do get a listing, I don't think that I have any A's. If I get a listing that has an A grade, I will go in and change it, because what that probably means is that I have too much matching between the title and the tags. Oh, see, this is an A+. These are things that I listed right at the beginning of when I started selling on Etsy. And so I've probably listed a lot in the title and tags. When's the last time I sold this? Probably like 8 months ago. So an A+ only means that the technical stuff that Etsy says they want is in there, but Etsy is not going by that technical stuff. Okay. That stuff doesn't guarantee that you're going to get a sale because Etsy isn't doing what they say. So just use the grades as a guideline to decide whether you want to change something or not, but don't use it as a guarantee that you're going to be making sales with this stuff. Because like I said, I just sold all of this stuff. Let me see. I haven't renewed anything recently. I've sold pretty much everything I've scrolled through. I renewed this one. So maybe up to this point in the last, 3 or 4 days. Grades don't guarantee sales. Now, the useful thing about this, they do show you, like it says I have 50 listings that have missing tags. Okay, that's something you could go in and check. And I tend to write the last tag in and then I forget to hit enter. So I will go ahead and miss a lot of tags on listings. So that's useful for me. No tags in title means I don't have anything matched. Less than 10 photos. So, I mean, it's just a way to look at your listings and decide for yourself whether you want to change anything. And this is a tool. Remember, this is a tool and you need to use your brain and then make your own decisions using the information that the tool gives you. Don't let the tool make the decisions for you. Okay. So that's the first part. And I know everybody freaks out about the grades in Marmalead. And honestly, they have talked about, the guys from Marmalead they say that they've thought about getting rid of the grades, but there's no good way to do that because people want some kind of a rating system. They want some kind of a rating system. And if you don't give it to them, they're like, we need the grades, but the grades are only there as a guideline. First thing. All right. The second thing I want to look at is search. And I'm going to use the term edible butterflies. just because I use that as an example for everything. And I do have some stats about this keyword in my own shop, which I will share with you in just a sec. The search section is good for looking at individual keywords and getting ideas for more keywords that other people are using and kind of trying to round this out. Now, this says that this is a long tail keyword, and I would probably agree with that just because it's kind of a niche product, but Marmalead has its own formula for determining what is a long tail and what isn't. And it has some, again, I don't know what formula they use, but it has to do probably with competition, how much things are searched, and that kind of stuff. This says this is a long tail. All right. I may or may not agree with that. I think that it is, but I could make it longer. But what you want to do is go in and just use a high level keyword like cake butterflies, cake decorations. Let's look at cake decorations. Okay. Cake decorations. Cake decorations is very general. This is going to bring up a lot of results, and it's probably a short tail keyword just because of the competition. And long tail keywords are more specific, and they are what people use when they're ready to buy because they're looking for something specific. So they're typing something specific in because they know I need butterflies. If they're looking for cake decorations, it could be anything. It could be cake toppers. It could be non-edible things. It just could be anything. So this is not long tail. That makes sense. And see, the competition is really high. What you want to do is find a good short tail or a long tail, if it brings you enough search and engagement. For short tail keywords, you want to look at search and engagement and ignore this. Just ignore that completely. What you want to do is find some good short tail keywords that prove that people are actually searching for this thing. Because if you have a short tail keyword that's very general, but no one is searching for it, then it might not be a good thing to try to sell, basically, because there's not that much demand for it. Now, something else to remember is that Marmalead is predictive. So this looks at the months, like in the past, it shows you the search volume. And this is probably not right because it's not showing any, but this looks at the months ahead. So this is saying that in the next 30 days, it's going to have this much search and engagement based on past information. And sometimes things don't display correctly in these tools. That's okay. I'm not, that I understand that. If you understand what the limitations of these tools are, you're fine. If you think that everything that they are telling you is actually 100% always accurate, then it's going to confuse you. We're looking at this saying, okay, 327 searches, 182 engagement. That means that more people are searching for this than actually clicking on listings. And again, I'm ignoring the competition right now because we're dealing with short tail. So now I'm going to put butterfly. And this is one thing that when I search, I just add stuff to the end of the search string that I've already typed in. I don't go back and retype everything. I think a lot of people do that because you get a lot of different word combinations. So now with cake decorations, butterfly, we've got 26 searches and less than 25 engagement, but the competition has dropped substantially. So for me, that tells me that this is a long tail keyword, because it's more specific. At this point, I'm not even looking at this because this isn't going to be right. This is what I'm looking at. How much competition am I going to have if I use this type of a search query as a keyword in my title and tags? Now, the reason that I'm not concerned about whether this is 100% right or not is because you can take a long tail keyword and move it around, right? So I could let's go into the comparison tool, which is another thing you can do, cake decorations, butterfly. People can write this in many ways. Okay, we can do butterfly cake decorations. We can do cake butterfly decorations. Is there another way to do this? Decorations, butterfly cake. Now, what Marmalead is doing and what every keyword tool does is that they're looking for the stats for this exact word order that someone is typing into search. So each one of these means the same thing, but it's only going to give you the stats for this arrangement. Basically, it's like the sequence of words in this order. So cake decorations, butterfly, it says it's 26, 25. Butterfly cake decorations, it says it's searched less, but it is engaged with more. And see, the competition is the same because it's the same thing. And it's saying that out of the listings on Etsy that have these words in it, it's the same number of listings, right? So just because people move the words around, it doesn't mean that the number of listings that are competing are different. It's the same listings, but people can search for things in many different arrangements of the same words. Each one of those arrangements is a separate long tail keyword and it gives you separate stats. That's what I think people don't understand. So what would happen is I would have to add up all of these to see what the actual search volume is. And because it's less than 25, we don't know if that's 24 or 1. It doesn't matter. Okay. Because again, these numbers are never 100% accurate because of the way that search tools work. Etsy doesn't give out search volumes exactly. But there are plenty of services and other businesses that deal with estimating search volume based on other factors, traffic online. I don't even know. Okay. So any of the search tools, whether it's for Etsy or for Google or for anything else, they will give you numbers. They're never going to be 100% accurate, but they're probably going to be right in the right proportions. Like if it says that this one is searched less than this one, then that's probably true. Now, in this case, cake decorations, butterfly, it says it searched a little bit more, but those are so close and those numbers are so low that I'm not worried about it, because the problem comes when you get long tail keywords. They naturally have less search and engagement because, like I said, they're dividing it up. So they're dividing this version up from that version from that. They're all giving you separate stats just for this one arrangement. And you do have to add it all up to see how much you actually have using those words, how much search volume. If you're estimating using a smaller data set, your estimates are not going to be as good as if you're estimating using a larger data set. So for short tail keywords, it's harder to get an accurate search volume. And in general, they're going to show that you have low search and engagement compared to short tails because they are dividing it up. Now, I don't know if any of that made sense, but to me it does. And I also did another video where I will add that to the end of this one, and it's about this exact thing. It goes into it in a little more detail. I know that the tools don't give me exact numbers, but I know that they're probably accurate as far as compared to this one has a little bit more. Compared to this one has a little bit less, that kind of thing. So I would say probably butterfly cake decorations and cake decorations butterfly are searched right around the same amount. That's very close. Not worried about it. Logically, I would say butterfly cake decorations probably is searched more by people who know what they're looking for. And cake decorations butterfly is searched a little bit more for people who are looking and then they decide they want butterflies and stick that onto the end of the search term. It doesn't matter because it's all low, and that's okay because I know that this is probably actually higher than it says. And that's the key to remember, that when these tools say that you have low search volume, if they says they have any search volume, then it's probably higher. To show this, I think I flipped over to this screen. Okay. I have edible butterflies and butterfly cake decorations are two of the terms that bring people to my shop. I made a little chart for myself. Like I said, Marmalead is in the future. So it's 30 days predictive. It's saying in the next 30 days, we're going to get this much search volume and this much engagement. In the previous 30 days in my shop, I had 77 people search for the term edible butterflies and actually come to my shop. And I had 35 people search for butterfly cake decorations and come to my shop. That makes sense based on these numbers because, I'm not going to get every single person who searches for edible butterflies coming to my shop. But this is probably also low because the numbers are just low. And what you want to do with Marmalead is to look at comparisons. So this one is probably going to be better than this one as far as the number of people who are searching for it because it's higher. And in fact, what I see in my shop is actually, that's correct. The number of people who search for this is higher than the number of people who search for this. The numbers are never going to be exact, but you want to use Marmalead as a tool to determine which one is better in general, not which one has the exact correct number, because these numbers are never going to be exactly right. They're always going to be on the low side if the data set that people are using to estimate is small. It's just not going to be as accurate. So it's going to be much more accurate if you have a huge keyword that has tons and tons and tons of search, and they can use that to estimate it. But when you have a small keyword like this, that's a niche product, the numbers are never going to be exactly right, but you'll be able to get an idea about which one is better proportionally. And that's what you should be looking at. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Leave me any questions at the bottom. If it doesn't, just leave me a comment and I'll try to answer it. But what I do when I use Marmalead is I come in and I look to see what's the best, quote unquote, best proportionally, like compared, should I use this one as the lead in my, in my shop, or should I use this one? So clearly it's this one. There might be another one that's better. It could be that butterfly cupcake toppers is good, or butterfly toppers. I don't know. The other thing to remember is that listings are not found for just one keyword. And like I said, the same listings in my shop are found for both keywords. So you can put both of these in your listing and that's fine. Etsy doesn't care, because the way that Etsy works is it doesn't require an exact word order match, but search engines like exact word order matches. So it's a little tricky, but you do want to find a good word order match so that the words edible butterflies are in that order, so that when you put that in your listing, you're not doing butterflies edible, because it might make a difference. It might not, depending on how niche your product is, but put edible butterflies. And then, I hate to say it, but just to be on the safe side, put that in your tags. You probably don't need to match things in your tags. And like I said, I'm doing another video for next Thursday about what I'm seeing on Etsy now, and it's wacky. But just to be on the safe side, I would find one good keyword that you think is going to bring traffic to your shop, and it shows decent search volume, and you put that in your title and in your tags. And then that's the only thing you really need to match. If even that, you really might not need to match it. Just to be on the safe side, I would do that. Just remember that listings can be found for more than one keyword. Etsy doesn't require the word order match to be what they're found for. So for example, if I have edible butterflies and then at the very end of the title, I put butterfly cake decorations. If someone comes along and searches for edible cake butterflies, they will find my listing. They will be able to find my listing with edible cake butterflies, and that will show up in search, even if it's not in that word order anywhere in the title or tags, as long as the words are there. And sometimes when they're not, again, watch my video for Thursday, but Etsy doesn't require that word order. It just doesn't. So anybody who's saying you need to have the exact word order in order to be found in search is full of it, and you can ignore that. But just for relevance sake, most search engines do prefer being able to find the match to what people type into search in the listing somewhere, just to prove to the search engine that that's a relevant match. So you do want to come in and you do want to do your research and find a good, whatever you consider good for search and engagement. For me, I would do edible butterflies, put that in the title, put it in the tags, and then I'm done. The rest of it, you just want to fill in. Now, what do you fill it in with? Here's where we go over to the storm tool. So let's say I'm going to do a storm for edible butterflies, because I'm like, I can't think of any other way to describe these. So what you're going to do is go down here, and I'm going to say yes. You're going to say yes or no. Is this a good keyword for that? I am going to say yes, because that's very general. And that could be anything. It's not butterflies clip art. Edible cake topper. Okay, I mentioned the word topper before. Edible chalk. No, it is not edible chalk. Every time you're clicking yes or no, you're teaching Marmalead's storm tool to add more things at the bottom. Okay, so when I clicked yes to cake topper, it's added all this stuff. Let's say love. Okay, now see, it just added something else. So you have to do yes and no, and this is the yes. Okay, so every time you see something that is applicable and accurate, say yes to it, and it'll move it over there, and then it'll add more that are related to this search at the bottom. So I'm going to go through this for a while. Edible flowers, no. Edible glitter, edible images. It might be. I am going to put yes for that. Edible money. No, it's not stars and moon. It's not metal, not Walking Dead. Fall, gift for her, Halloween, Harry Potter, lots of infringement. Etsy is rife with infringement, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay, let's see. Planner stickers. So you want to go through this. It is wafer paper. See that? So I just added wafer paper to it. So now it's adding more stuff at the bottom. But you want to go through and just add the things that are accurate. And then what it will do is it will give you some ideas of things that you can use in your listing. So I am going to put birthday cake topper just to see what happens. Cake topper, yes, it could be a wedding cake topper. I do that. It's not a globe. It's not gum paste. Pikachu, wedding cake topper. It's not wooden. Birthday cake, yes, why not? I'm going to stay away from birthday party. And you can add things, but then you might want to go back and X them out over here if you change your mind for that, because some things are kind of close and some things maybe not. I'm going to do this custom cake topper. No, I don't want to do custom. Edible image, maybe. First birthday, sure. Love, no. Bedroom, birthday gift, butterfly. See, now we're starting to repeat. And when you get to the point where everything is like, no, not really. So you can just kind of scroll through and see if there's anything else. See, paper, I don't want to put paper because it's not paper. Edible butterflies, yes. Topper cake. See, that's cake topper in a different order. Okay, so we will do topper cake, rustic cake topper, yes. Wood cake topper, cake pan, cake pops. I think that that's probably enough. Cake decoration, sure, why not? And then you can go up and check to see what you've got up here, cupcake decorations. And I really should be Xing things out, but just for the sake of speed, I'm not going to do that. Now, what it's done is it's arranged these in quote unquote the best, and then down to the least engagement and that kind of stuff. So rustic cake topper, that would make sense for edible butterflies because people use them for woodland and forest kind of cakes, those themes. So I definitely want to put the word rustic in my title and tags somewhere. It doesn't necessarily have to be rustic cake topper, but this is a good word order, and you can hover over this to see the search, engagement, and competition. So I might want to actually put this in there in that order. So it could be edible butterflies, rustic cake topper for weddings or birthdays for birthday cake. You know, I mean, you can use all of these terms in a sentence in the title, just work them all in. I mean, clearly we've got repeats here. It's like cake topper, wedding, birthday, first birthday, cupcakes, rustic, wafer paper. It's all the most obvious ones to me. This isn't anything that's giving me any super great revelations, which is fine. But what I might want to do is go over and right up at the very top, there's a little orange button that says save. I'm clicking that, and that's saving this list. Okay. And then you can go back to the Storm tab, and it saved it over here. So now when I come back in 2 months to check this and get more ideas, it's going to have the bucket for edible butterflies. It's going to give me more searches, and all of these little circles will be updated. So if one of these was not so great, but now it's a really good keyword because more people are searching for it this time of year, which does tend to happen in the summer. People search for these more often. This might change to green, or this one might change to red, or whatever it is. If you come back and check on these, you don't have to go through the whole process again. But what I want to do is I'm going to create a list. I'm going to click on this list here, add keyword to list, or you can create a new list. Okay, so if I want to keep a list of good keywords, you can do lists, and then those are down here on the other side. Come back later, find your list. Again, all these little buttons update so you can see if it's still a good keyword, or if it's fallen out of favor, or if it's more competitive, or whatever it is. But I think I want to take rustic cake topper, and we're going to go back to search to look to see what kind of stuff I can find from there, because what you want to do is look for the good keywords and then branch off. So we're going to branch off and see what ideas we can get using the search tool. And this is how you use all the tools together. Okay. Now remember that these numbers are not correct. And that's okay, because looking at this, I already can remember that edible butterflies was only like 99 and 77. So I can see that rustic cake topper is searched a lot more than edible butterflies. But rustic cake topper could be a lot of other things that are not butterflies. It could be a deer head, or it could be, you know, birch kind of wood things. There's a lot of different types of rustic cake toppers that are not just butterflies. So that's why there's more of it. There's more search, there's more engagement, and there's more competition. If I'm looking at this one versus edible butterflies, it's clear that this one is searched more just based on these numbers, even if these numbers are not 100% accurate. And no tool is 100% accurate. Not even Google AdWords is 100% accurate, because that's not even search volume that's looking at, but that's a different story. Okay. So what I want to do for this, I'm going to go down here and see, here's examples of rustic cake toppers. I don't see a butterfly in the bunch because it's all different kinds of stuff. And that's why there's more search for it. So that would make me say, well, you know, maybe I want to put the word rustic in there, but it's not going to be my primary focus right under the picture. Like it could be a rustic cake topper, but it's not the primary thing. But I am going to go down here and see, it's going to show my listings that have the word rustic in it, because I've sold this stuff for a while. I know what words work. And here's examples, but then it's going to show you popular tags on listings that have rustic cake topper in the listing. These are some tags that people use. Okay. So you might be able to get some ideas here. So we've got custom. I don't do custom. Personalized, rustic. No, so far, no, that's the first page. And look, at this point, I'm not looking at the volume. Okay. I already have my keyword, which is edible butterflies. That's going to be my primary keyword that I put in title and tags. Again, you don't really have to do that, but Etsy still says to do it. So it doesn't hurt to do one. It doesn't hurt to match one. That's all. Okay. Do any of these match? Wedding decor? That could work. You know, I do use the word decor a lot because people are searching for a theme or whatever. Unique cake topper, that could work, but you just want to look through to see if there's anything that would work. Fall wedding, that would work for some of the colors that I have. You want to look to see if there's anything that would work for your listing and just add that to your list. And if you do see something that works. Let's see, maybe it will work for a bridal shower. You can go over here and you can click on this if it will do it. There we go. Add keyword to list. And then you can add the keyword to the list that you created for rustic cake topper, right? So you can make a list that's all words that will relate to this one thing. Country wedding, that would be really good for butterflies. So just add those to your list, build a list based on all of the tools that it's giving you, all this information, and then you can make decisions from there. Now, similar shopper searches is things that the people who are searching for butterfly cake toppers, or this is rustic cake topper, they're also searching for these things. Okay, so you can look down here to see if any of these words make sense for you. Boho wedding cake topper, that would make sense. So I would put that in there and just click over here, add it to your list. Okay, add it to your list. Just go through and collect a bunch of keywords. I like collecting keywords. I'm a keyword collector, but if you do that, it's going to give you ideas. And again, you don't have to research every one of these keywords. This one might be like winter wedding cake topper. You might go, oh my God, that's only got so much search engagement. Remember, these numbers aren't right. These numbers are always going to be low. So don't worry about it. And remember that listings can be found for more than one keyword. So if you put the word winter in there, then the people who are searching for that will find it and you might sell something, But here's long tail alternatives. This is the same thing. You want to go down and see if anything rustic birthday cake topper, that would be perfect. And again, I don't care that this says it's low because it's not right. They're always higher than what these say because of the sample size. So I'm just going to click here. I will add it to my list and I'll go on to the rest. But look, this is giving you so many ideas here. So there's all this down here. You can look through the little word cloud. There's all types of ways in Marmalead to find terms. And you just have to understand that no keyword tool is giving you the exact number data. That's impossible. Again, not even Google does that. As long as you understand that what you're doing is you're looking at, is this one searched more than this one proportionally? Like relative to this, how much is edible butterfly search? Not as much. So I definitely want to put this in there, but if they are edible butterflies, so that's really going to be my primary keyword that I want to make sure is in both places and in my description. It's all just information gathering. As far as the tracking, I don't use the tracking, but you can track a keyword over time and see how that works. Trending is from Pinterest. This can be very interesting. All right. Very Pinteresting. Yeah, that's why they called it Pinterest. Your history shows what you've done. So if you mess up and you delete something, you can go back and look at it. This will show like the searches that you've been doing. Let's look at trending for a minute. This is from Pinterest. And this will tell you what you should be pinning right now. Not that Pinterest is immediate, but it also could tell you, like, see, this is trending right now, spring, because I'm recording this in February. Wedding shower food, that's trending up. But this will tell you what time of the year do these things trend, and then you should pin ahead of that so that Pinterest has time to catch up. But if there are a lot of people searching for boho baby shower ideas on Pinterest, look at this, they're probably searching for that on Etsy too. So maybe you could go over and add boho baby shower ideas to some of the listings that you have that are appropriate for that. Don't go and stick it in listings that don't make sense. But if you have some listings that work, then do that. You don't have to research every single one of these words. Okay. I am going to link to the webinar that I did about SEO. If you have not watched that, I would suggest that you watch it because it does go through the whole thing again, probably explained a little bit better. But the way that I use Marmalead is to get ideas and to figure out what is better than the other one. So I use the comparison tool a lot. I use the storm. I love the storm tool because that gives me ideas of things that I would not have thought of. And it will suggest things that are related. And that's really how search engines are working these days. They're working on relationships. When you're using these tools, regardless of what tool it is, don't get obsessed with the numbers. Just look at the words and figure out which one is searched more often in what order than other ones, and then go from there. And watch for my video on Thursday for what Etsy's up to now with search, because it really is becoming much more like Google as far as the way that it's working. It's just not how it used to be, with the exact word order match being as important as it was. It hasn't been that way for quite some time. We're getting away from tips and tricks, and we're getting into a more holistic way of understanding search. And if you're obsessed with finding that right word order, the exact word order that's going to get you to the top of the first page, sorry, it doesn't happen that way. So leave me any questions, watch this video next, and I will talk to you later.